Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So, you know the drill by now. It's movies, games, TV, something from the last week, and, that's probably about it, I imagine. If you're not watching us on YouTube, there's usually a video, or at the very least, there's some pretty pictures. So jump over to YouTube, give us a subscribe, give us a notification bell click, and tell friends and family to do the same. Cheers. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Right, there we go. Can you hear me? I hope so. Oh, right then. This is the point where I tell you that it's week 6, I think it is, week 6 of lockdown. That's that, really. It won't be week 6 when you get this, and I don't know what relevance it has. Maybe things are worse by the time you're listening to this. Fingers crossed things are better. You know, this will be a month later, so maybe we're out of the house by the time you hear this. I've got the window open. Don't know if you can hear the birds chirping. It's like 7 o'clock on a Monday evening. Still light. Yeah, we're getting to that time of year. About a couple of warm ones. I'm quite drained, which I don't feel lends itself to doing a podcast. And I do feel I need to apologise for last week's podcast. It's one of those things I can't explain and I can't get across what it's like to have to try and record the same thing for the third time through no fault of your own. I know I blasted through it, and I know that I left out loads of stuff, for better or worse. I left out loads of stuff from the previous couple of times I tried it. Some of the stuff I felt in the end was probably better to have been left out, but like I say, that's the sort of the better or the worst sort of thing. But this is an apology from me to you for last week's podcast. Obviously you got the information, but yeah, I am enjoying it. I'm tucking in. Listen. I'm tucking into my first cold coffee of the day. Been one of those days today. The work I'm doing at the moment is draining. That's why I think that's why I feel the way I do. And then I had to shoot out a little while ago to go and get a prescription for one of the cats. 2 cats. One of them's just a cat and the other one's like a broken cat. Do you guys have that? I don't know. Anyway, let's get started and maybe things will pick up a bit. It's one of those, I feel, I've got a monster list right here. Monster list. I've tried to keep the stuff from the week short. Some might say focused. Some might say we're in a lockdown and, not much happens. And then, the other side of lockdown. I've got multiple TV related things. Bringing back a segment that we haven't had for quite a while. I've got a documentary, I've got some movies, I've got some computer games. It's all there. So I need to shake off the cobwebs and get this started. So last Wednesday, Wednesday's my day with the baby. Not even a baby. I was on a work call today, and somebody was like, "Oh, you've got a toddler at home, haven't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess we're at that point." So Wednesday's my day with the baby. I've been saying through all of this, I was built for lockdown. I was always grounded when I was a child, so I was built for this. And largely that is the case. I've had some weird memory recollection of some stuff that was like the pendulum swing of the different sides, that like being grounded and then being told later in life that being in all the time wasn't normal, and you're supposed to leave the house and things like that, and having to learn to go out. So Wednesday, I get up having had 5 weeks of me going, lockdown, yeah, it's not ideal, but, and saying, I was designed for this and all that. I get up Wednesday and I can't stop sweating. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's really warm. Oh, I've got sweat on. I got out of bed and I was warm. And I've said previously, sometimes like I can end up drinking a coffee and being hot. I can end up getting out of the shower and I just can't seem to cool down. Certain times of the day, I don't know what it is, and I'll never be able to explain it to you because I don't know what it is. But certain times of the day, I'm just hot. 11 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night. It's 11 o'clock. No, that's not true. More like at 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night. I would just be warm. Explain that one. So Wednesday, I get up and I am just warm. I'm just sweating. But then, because I can't seem to cool down, and it's like I can't get away from it. Part of me is like, the only thing that you can do right now is go outside. You've got to get out. You've got to get out of the house. You've got to go outside. That's the only place you're going to be able to cool down. Some of this might be just possibly psychological. I don't know. But my brain went, you can't cool down. You're sweating all over the shop. You need to go outside. The big wide open world sort of thing. So I'm like, let's do that. Let's get out. Put the baby in the old in the push chair and got ready to go out. It was a beautiful day. It was a t-shirt and sunglasses day. Absolutely no jacket for this man. Honestly, I don't think we're far away from the shorts. So went out. Now, I was taking this as my daily allowance of allowed to leave the house sort of situation for exercise. I was going to use this walk as my exercise. Also, we required toothpaste. That's it, we just need some toothpaste. So I'm like, right, I'm going to go to the shop. I'm going to buy some toothpaste. I'm going to go for a walk. World of good. So I went out. Me and the baby in the pushchair, and we walked up to the shops that are just at the top of the street. Went in, bought toothpaste. Cool beans, everyone's happy. Got the item we needed. So I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the time. It's like, baby needs lunch at a certain point in time. We're out for a walk. Are we just going to do a bit of a short walk, or are we going to go for the long walk? I'm looking at the time, I'm like, something. It's not going to kill her to go, 15 minutes past lunchtime. So let's get that walk going. It's going to be the right thing for me. It's going to be good for her, a bit of stimulation, all that sort of thing. So out I set into the world, and away we went. And this is what I'm coming around to is, last Wednesday whilst I was out on this walk, it's the first time in all of this that I've actually felt like we were in lockdown. I felt there was a distinct lack of people out and about. Like every time I've left the house, for whatever reason, whether it's to get out and get a walk, for whatever reason of leaving the house, which I really don't do that often, it's not really felt like we were in lockdown. There have been a couple of points in time, those weekends that we had that the weather was really nice. Those points in time, I'm out there and I'm like, this is worse than it would have been before lockdown for people being out. You wouldn't see these people out here if we weren't in lockdown. So Wednesday's the first time that I've been out and about. Admittedly, it's a weekday. I'm not under those sorts of illusions. But it definitely felt like we were in lockdown. Less people out and about wandering around, less people out doing exercise, less cars on the road, like minimal cars. So I'm like, wow, it's a real difference. It's a distinct difference. The other thing I noticed, when you do see people, you do come in contact with people, obviously you've got to keep your distance, social distancing, but people are so much more friendlier. So much more friendly, so much more friendly, so much more friendly, so much friendlier. It's like every single person you see speaks to you. Hi, how are you doing? You alright? You wouldn't get that. The odd person might speak to you, and usually you're a bit like, ooh, or that's probably just me. But everybody you see speaks to you, and I was like, I'm out there getting the walk. I'm out with the baby. I'd done the job I went to do. I got toothpaste. And I'm out in the world and I'm like, we're in lockdown. Nobody's out and about. And the people you do see, those are the people, they're talking and I needed that. I needed that for my sanity or whatever, for my mental health or whatever. I needed to see that because what I saw was a country that was finally doing the right thing. And a society that's been brought together through this. Those people, if we weren't in this situation, those people, 90% of those people wouldn't have spoken to me. You guys know what I look like. You've seen a video of me. Hopefully with clothes on. People see me coming down the street and it's, those people wouldn't speak to me. Nearly everybody spoke to me. Hi, how you doing? You alright there? Whilst keeping distance and stuff. I got home, I was on top of the world. I was like, that's one of the best experiences I've had out of the house in a very long time. Certainly whilst all this has gone on. It felt like everything was coming together the way it should do. It felt like we were going to get through this, come out the other side. Boom. Fantastic. That was Wednesday. You already know what's coming. It's like a Netflix original, this bad boy. What day? I'm going to say Friday. So, for as long as I can remember, in this house, there is one person only, that does the shopping. Leanne would go and meet her dad on a Saturday morning. It was double bubble for them. They got to see each other once a week, every week, and they got their weekly shopping done. Tick, 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 tick. Ticks a lot of boxes right there. During this time, there's been, X amount of shopping needs to be done. And as you know, from what I've sort of said, what was it, last week, I have been out to do the shopping. And Friday evening, I went out to do the shopping. The conversation in our house usually starts with, who's doing the shopping? Am I going? Oh, well, does it make more sense if I go? That'll be like in the morning. by lunchtime, it's like, did we make a decision who was going? Oh, well, it makes more sense if you go, but then I can go. And it's just that all day. That conversation happens about 20 times. And then at about 5 o'clock, I'm like, so am I going then? Yeah, we decided that you were going to go because it makes more sense for you to go because of X. So it was me going to do the shopping. Shopping is a stressful thing for me in the sense that I don't know where anything is. Because I generally don't do it. I don't know where things are. And I don't... You know those signs that hang above the aisles in supermarkets? I might be one of the only people in the world that actually uses them because I just don't know. You know, it's like, am I going to go and get milk? I can probably find where the milk is. Do I need a loaf of bread? I can probably find where the bread is. Do I need, a cheese? It's probably going to be in the cheese section. Ham, I can do those things. But when you've got like a list of loads of vegetables, it's like, well, it's a big supermarket. I'm probably just making excuses for being a shit shopper. So I've got my list, which was actually 2 lists by the time I went. And I'm like, where's the courgettes? Do they not have any? Or is it that I can't find them? Because those are the 2 choices. Round and round and round and round and round. I went round the fruit and veg section. They didn't have either of the 2 fruits I went for. They didn't have courgettes, to my knowledge. I did manage to get, the other things, potatoes and things like that. The other one was coleslaw. Where the freaking hell does the coleslaw live? Turns out it's on an end. Stuff like that. So it's stressful because ultimately I just don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to return home and go, I bought all the wrong things and I paid too much money for them and I didn't get anything you asked for. I'm trying to do my best, trying to bring the right things home. So I'm out in a stressful for me situation. And I'm like, where's the fucking coleslaw? And something I need to ask, something I've realised. I would refer to a certain type of gentleman as a middle-aged man. That doesn't work when I am a middle-aged man. So, maybe somebody can help me with this. What are you called when you're 50 to 55? You've got the white grey hair. You're not 40 anymore, but you're not 70. Are you still middle-aged? Does middle-aged cover like 30 years? 40 to 70? I suppose past 60, would you be an elderly gentleman? I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But what I can tell you is, in a supermarket, what I've found in all forms of shop that I've been in so far, let's go with middle-aged. Middle-aged men are the worst for the social distancing stuff. They could not give less of a shit. And it's like, okay, the aisle's so wide, you've got your plastic gloves on, but you've left your trolley in the middle of the aisle and you've now gone over to look at something on a shelf, which essentially means you've blocked the entire aisle. I'm now standing more than 2 meters away going, now what? I'll just wait, shall I? And apparently, we are very much browsing. There's very little buying, there's very little putting in the shopping trolley, and very much staring into space. But yeah, middle-aged men. Don't know what. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's, a feeling of some form of invulnerability. I don't know. But they're the ones that walk down the middle of the aisle past you. They're the ones that, you're going round and there's like, you're one side of the aisle, somebody else is the other side of the aisle a bit further down. They'll just walk straight through the middle. Don't care. And I don't like it. I don't like going out there at this time, going into these supermarkets where, you've got to go round all of the stuff to get in, and you got to wipe your trolley, and you can just feel all the grime on the handle, and then you're supposed to follow these arrows, but nobody does, and I'm trying to do the following the arrows, but then I'm like, damn it, have I missed it? I'm gonna have to go round again. I came out of the supermarket. I'm pretty sure I've been in there 2 hours, just going round and round. I'm pretty sure I was in the fruit and veg section for 40 minutes. Freaking courgettes, and they didn't have any. And it was just, Wednesday I get home and I'm like, I'm telling you, man. Say what you want. It's not great. It's not ideal. It's not the best. It's people are dying and all of this. It's not what we want. But maybe this will bring people together. Maybe we'll, together we're stronger, and we're going to come out the other side of this as a better society. Maybe that's something. That's why I came home thinking on Wednesday. 2 days later, I go to the supermarket and I'm like, no, we're all going to get wiped out through pure stupidity. We're literally going to get wiped out by stupidity. It's bonkers. That's a cold coffee. A little cold coffee. So, I want to talk to you about Diet Coke. Yep, Diet Coke. So, some point last week, well, it has to have been before Friday, earlier in the week, honestly doesn't matter. I'm like, I tell you something, I've got something that has been a very strange thing for me is during this lockdown time, I've had cravings. It's weird. I've had cravings for things. Whether that's one of those when you can't have something, that's what you want. I've got back into stuff that I used to be into years ago. Jammy Dodgers. Loving a jammy Dodger. And something that I've noticed is some of these things taste amazing. Like, get yourself out there, treat yourself to a jammy Dodger. Think about the last time you ate one. Think, man, I haven't had a jammy Dodger in a while. Get yourself out there, get your shopping done, get a sleeve of jammy Dodgers, try one, and tell me that they don't taste better than they used to. Don't know what they've done, but jammy Dodgers are so good. So I've had all these weird cravings. Unfortunately, one of those cravings has been for chocolate. What's weirdly kind of nice is no matter how much chocolate I can or would or have or any of those things eat, none of it's ever enough. There's just this craving for chocolate. So I get to the point where I'm like, oh, there's no real point in eating it then, is there? Because, it's not enough. So how about we don't bother? I mean, I do bother. So middle of last week, let's say, I had this powerful craving, a hankering, a craving, whatever, for Diet Coke. So I think it was the next day, checking out Instagram stories, as you and I know, that can only mean one thing. Checking in with the old, with Mr. Kreischer himself, Bertie boy, and he's there and he's drinking Diet Coke and going on about, oh man, we managed to get some Diet Coke, it's the best day ever and all this. I'm like, This cannot be a coincidence, and quite frankly, if Bert's drinking Diet Coke and I'm hankering after Diet Coke, next time I'm in a position to get some, I'm getting some. Jump forward to Friday, I'm doing the shopping, I walk down the fizzy drinks aisle, grabs me just a little bottle, because they're like 1.5 litre or something, just a little bottle of Diet Coke. Now then, while I was thinking about whether I was going to talk about this, I was thinking I need to clarify some stuff at this point in time. I used to be very much, in every definition of the word, addicted to Diet Coke. I was working out the other day, so I used to drink a minimum, this is a minimum, I used to drink 21 litres of Diet Coke a week. That's a minimum. So, I used to get 8 2-litre bottles of Diet Coke from, that was my shopping order for a Saturday. Bring me back 8 2-litre bottles of Diet Coke. I used to have them in the wardrobe, in the bedroom, and just drink them. Just drink them. I would buy on my way to work 5 days a week 2 500 millilitres, so a litre of Diet Coke 5 days a week. So add to your 16 litres another 5. I'm guessing you know how maths works. And I just drank it all the time. Got to the point where at one point in time I'd been up for 5 days. I couldn't work out why. Basically in 5 days just hadn't slept. And at the 5-day point where I started hallucinating and had to go home from work because I was hallucinating, it was around that time that I was like, I don't think drinking all of this Diet Coke is very healthy. When I stopped drinking, I used to drink Jack Daniels and Diet Coke, Maker's Mark and Diet Coke, whiskey and Diet Coke. When the alcohol went, the Diet Coke went with it. And there was a point where I'd stopped drinking, and I'd stopped drinking Diet Coke. And then there was a point where when I went back to drinking, the only time I drank Diet Coke was when I was drinking. So it's been a lot of years that I've not had it. I don't have it. Got this powerful hankering for Diet Coke. I'm like, oh yeah. Like I say, picked up a little 1.5 litre bottle, brought it home. I was saying to Lan, I was like, look at this, I bought some Diet Coke. Which, that's one of those, I might as well have knocked off the diet and just said, I brought home some Coke. Because, slippery slopes and all that. I put it in the fridge because I'm like, I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit it. Like a day later, sort of round tea time, I'm like, in the fridge. Hey, what's this? Little bottle of Diet Coke. Hello there. So, I know what I'm like. I go to the cupboard to get a glass. I don't get a pint glass out. I get a little glass. I'm like, I'm just gonna have a taste. Everything's fine. Pop the top on that Diet Coke. Poured it. The fizz is going. Oh, the black stuff. Ooh, looks good. Put the lid on. Put the bottle back in the fridge. Picked up the glass. Had a sip and went, not very nice. And I don't know what it was. Whether yet again we're in a Jammy Dodger situation where this is a new recipe Diet Coke. Who knows? But it tasted really watered down. And I'm like, have I got a bad batch? Whatever. I drank the glass and was like, that really was not hitting the spot whatsoever. I was glad. I've had another glass since, which was a little bit nicer, but not a nice experience. Yeah, don't know. So, Diet Coke. Meh. Right, let's get talking. There's an absolute shed load of stuff on this list. You'll have to excuse me because I can't remember what was on last week's list, so I don't know if any of this is repeating. Having coded a load of podcasts a little while ago, I realised that there's probably a lot of repeating at this time, so you'll have to excuse that. I watched the TV series The Wu Assassin. So, it was a weird thing, and it shows how sort of ingrained the podcast is into my life. All I could think was, I can't wait to review this on the podcast. I watched The Wu Assassin. I wasn't super excited to watch it. It was one of those that I kept seeing, Netflix original. It's got the guy from The Raid. It's got a guy I recognise who was the bad guy. It looked kind of okay. It's got the martial arts style from The Raid, but there was what looked like some kind of supernatural element. Excuse me. So I watched it, and what I can say is that show is 50-50. As a review, 50% of it is really good, and 50% of it is not. The 50% that is really good, the martial arts stuff, The Raid is such a good film, and largely it's because of the martial arts, and largely because those martial arts are so brutal. And what's nice is, even though this is a TV show, even though it's Netflix, even though it's all of that, they've kept the brutality aspect from those martial arts, like that Raid style of martial arts. It's Indonesian. I don't know its name, I'm afraid. All of that was great, which made me wish that the supernatural side of it just wasn't in it. I wish they'd done something else. I don't even know how to go about explaining the supernatural side of it. The guy from The Raid, he's told that he's the Wu Assassin. He's given this thing. It gives him supposedly like 1,000 Wu Assassins that came before him, and like he's got their powers. He can change his face. Literally, that's only used in the first few episodes. Never mentioned again after that. It's not never mentioned, but his face never changes after that. Very much a show that feels like they set out on a journey and then they were like, not sure what we're doing. What are we doing again? Let's change it. Like one of those where the bad guy is the bad guy and he's a terrible man and he's awful and it's terrible. He's terrible man. He's not the bad guy anymore. He's a good guy now. It's like, what? Weirdly, had an amazing cast. Had one of the guys from Sons of Anarchy. Scottish guy with the scars on his face. Summer Glau was in a couple of episodes. I'll say this, has not aged overly well in my opinion. However, if at some point somebody was like, "Oh, we're going to remake Alien," and we're looking for somebody who is the absolute spitting image of Sigourney Weaver at that age, they should give Summer Glau a call. She is the spitting image of Sigourney Weaver, a young Sigourney Weaver. It's uncanny. It's weird. Yeah, he's got It's got a reasonably good cast, but this by halfway through the series, it felt like it had turned into like The Last Airbender, whatever that was called. It was like, oh, it turns out that there's loads of people that have got loads of these superpowers, and we sort of didn't mention any of this at the start of the show, but that's definitely a thing. It was superpower of the week. It was like Smallville. Bad guy has different superpower. Good guy goes to stop him. I really do wish they'd have found a different way to incorporate the martial arts into just something completely different. I love the raid. I love the second one's very good. It's just not the first one. The first one's fantastic. I just wish they'd found a different way of bringing that style of martial arts into the mainstream. I kind of feel, and I don't know that this is true, but I kind of feel like the main guy from the raid's probably gonna maybe regret doing this. I don't know what sort of impact that it's going to have on his career. I don't know if it's going to be overly positive. I don't know. It was 50-50. It was. I just wish it didn't have. The CG was bad. That whole side of it, just not good. But martial arts was great. So that's the Wu Assassin. I needed something else after that. I'm sort of going through shows that I'm like, I'll probably give that a whirl. Like I said with The Witcher, I'd get round to it eventually, and I did. There was a show that had popped up, and I was like, I definitely want to watch that. And then reviews I heard of it were not overly positive. They were like, it's okay. So Altered Carbon Series 2 I am currently watching. Sorry, I'm still a little bit unsure about the laptop. Altered Carbon Series 2. I'm only so many episodes in, and maybe 3-4 episodes in or something. I really enjoyed the first series. The first series was really good. It was really solid. It was a good series. I don't know how to say what I want to say, because I don't know how it's going to sound. I'm not enjoying the second series as much. It feels like it doesn't really have any real direction. The first series was very much the guy had a job to do, and he went about doing that job. The second series, it's like, he's got a new job. He's got a new job to do, and that job is over before it even starts. And since then, it's literally just what Sam would refer to as spinning its wheels. I honestly don't know what we're actually doing in this series at this point in time. The biggest issue I have for this, and this was how it was described to me, Altered Carbon Series 2, it's fine. It doesn't really feel like Anthony Mackie fills the part. That's how it was described to me. It just didn't feel like he was very... It's not that he's not very good in the role. It's like the role doesn't fit him. I've started watching it and I'm like, yeah, 100% agree. This role does not fit him. He is fine, and he does very well in his role as Falcon in the Marvel universe. And I really enjoyed his character in Pain and Gain. I just don't think he suits this role. There's been a handful of people that have been in the first series. It's still got the AI hotel guy. The sisters popped up in it for various reasons. There's a lot of carryover from Series 1. Unfortunately, it feels like it hasn't carried over the substance of Series 1. It just feels like there's nothing there. It's enjoyable to watch, there's fight scenes and things like that, but it just feels like there's nothing going on. It's very... I don't want to be, I always say the same thing. I always say, they had a first series, it was really good. Netflix went to them and went, we want another series, and their answer was, well, we haven't got one. So they had to pull something out of their ass. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's got the substance that Series 1 had. I will keep watching it. I kind of hoping it picks up a bit. I kind of hope we get a bit of a direction to it, but we'll see. Caution. Spoilers ahead. There's not going to be any spoilers, but I am about to talk about something that you may not have seen. I don't know how likely that is, especially when you'll be getting this in 4 weeks' time. I'm about to talk to you about The Mandalorian Episode 7. I'm not going to tell you what happened in it, but I am going to be talking about it. So, spoilers ahead for Mandalorian Episode 7. There we go. If you didn't want to hear it, you've probably skipped ahead by now. Obviously, last week I was talking about the fact that I've been watching The Mandalorian, and I'd watched 5 episodes because of the delay around the whole podcast issue. And I ended up watching the 6th episode, which I felt hands down was the best, largely to do with the cast. And the episode itself was very good. Episode 7, I'd spoken to Sam. Sam was like, oh, have you watched the rest of The Mandalorian? I was like, no. It was like, the last 2 episodes really do bring it together. Episode 7, very good, perfectly fine. One of those that it's introduced one of those people that, somebody who gets typecast. From now until the end of time, the guy that played Gus Fring in Breaking Bad appears towards the back end of episode 7. He is playing somebody in Star Wars. Good episode, good solid episode. We're sort of moving away from it sort of feeling like just a reskin of Firefly. It feels very much more like we've brought it back to being The Mandalorian. There was a little bit of something sad at the end. I'm not going to say what that is, but something sad happened at the end. So there you go. That's that. All in all, The Mandalorian is well worth your time. If you're sitting on the fence about it, oh, fucking Star Wars, or oh, the films are shit, or oh, they haven't done anything good since Return of the Jedi, or if it's that, or if you're like, oh, I don't know, it's just gonna be lightsabers and stuff, give it a chance. I personally think you won't be disappointed. I can honestly say that this is probably the best thing to come out of the Star Wars universe in a long time. And I do mean a long time. There's been the odd thing here and there that's been quite passable that's come out of the Star Wars universe. But this is hands down the best thing that has come out of the Star Wars universe. There's only 1 episode left, which I will get on Friday. I will more than likely watch it on Friday. Maybe. We'll see. So, yes. The Mandalorian, Episode 7. Well worth watch. As has the whole series been. Let's have a looky-loo. Keeping in the vein of Star Wars, I had recommended to me one of the Star Wars cartoons. To say cartoon is one of those. They're CG animated, so I don't feel that they're cartoons. They're CG animated. I thought it was the Clone Wars cartoon that had been recommended to me, so I watched the first episode of that. That felt super dated. Like it's like set at a time around a film that was terrible. The time frame of it, characters that you don't care about. For me, I'm like, this feels really dated, and it's dated of a time that I don't care about. The first episode was fine. A lot of Yoda. That was kind of that, really. Turned out I'd been watching the wrong TV series. And what had been recommended was Star Wars Rebels. How it was sold to me was, if you enjoy the story of the Jedi Fallen Order game, you'll definitely like Rebels. There's a ragtag bunch, a crew on a ship, a couple of Jedis, some aliens, and away you go. It's like, yeah, I'll give that a whirl. I watched quite a few episodes. It's enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. I'm digging it. I will keep watching it. I don't know how much I'll keep you informed of that. I know that animated stuff isn't everybody's cup of tea. It is mine. As long as it's good animated stuff. I've been made aware that there's a new Ghost in the Shell series on Netflix. However, I have also been made aware that it's okay. It's apparently weird. Something I'll probably give a whirl further down the line. We shall see. Oh, cold coffee. So those are the TV things I've been tucking into. Remember what I said earlier? I was going to bring back a segment. I just really quickly want to talk about something. I realised that I used to talk about books. And then I stopped, largely because I had a period of time where I wasn't reading. When the baby was born, there was no opportunity really for me to read. I got out of reading, didn't really read anything. Jump forward a few months, more opportunity arose where reading could resume. I got back into reading, and I'm devouring books left, right and centre. I think I will have talked about it on previous podcasts. It's a weird thing for me. I was never into reading. I think that's largely because I don't have a very high reading age. I imagine that's largely to do with my dyslexia. I think it's just one of those things that reading wasn't a thing for me. But now I will actively put to one side other things. I will stop playing games early. I will stop watching stuff. I will go to bed earlier with the intention of reading. I couldn't sleep last night. I read some of the book I'm reading at the moment. I'm absolutely flying through the book I'm reading at the moment, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Now then, I wrote down the series of books I'm reading. Didn't write down the name of the book. And of course it's not on the first page. Oh, come on. There we go. The book I'm reading at the moment is called Serious Moonlight by Dave Turner. It is book 5 of the How to Be Dead series. The How to Be Dead series is a series I really enjoyed. It ran parallel with like the Sandman Slim books, which I read all of. I read Sandman Slim book 1 to 10. I'm aware that there are other books in the Sandman Slim series. I'm just looking now. 81% through this book. I thoroughly enjoyed the How to Be Dead series. Basically, the first couple of books are around death and sort of deaths. Not apprentice, it's a guy that goes to work for death. A guy called David Marwood, I think his surname is. He, very much like the kid from Sixth Sense, he can see dead people, and he has the ability to send them, to get them to move on. They shake hands, and they move on to the afterlife. Useful to be working with or closely with death. However, there were 4 books up until recently. One of them was about one of the other 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And the 4th one turned out to have one of the other 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It centers around death being one of the 4 horsemen, and it's sort of that take on it. 4 super enjoyable books, really easy reading. I thoroughly enjoyed them, and pretty sure they were all available at that point in time. So I just bought them all. I got them quite cheap. Kindle versions are always, cheaper anyway. Flew through them, thoroughly enjoyed them. I think I might have read them at the same time as I was reading something else. Next thing, it's like, hey, you read 4 of the How to Be Dead books. Did you know there's a new one? I was like, I did not. Oh, well, if you buy it now, you can have it cheap. I shall do that. Bought it, and it ended up sitting in my Kindle library. Finished all the Sandman Slim books. I'm like, what have I got to read? Oh, I've got that How to Be Dead book. So I'm 81% into this book. I've been reading it for a few days. And what I can say is, have you ever heard of the film American Werewolf in London? No, you haven't. No, you haven't. At least that's what the book wants you to think. Because they've basically written a story which is so much... it's just American Werewolf in London. Just with various tweaks here and there. So much so that it feels like an insult. For a series of books that I thoroughly enjoyed, I'm baffled by this book. I'm like, so what? You think I've not seen American Werewolf in London and cannot see the multitude of similarities? Is this a homage of some kind? I don't understand it. I was explaining to Thomas Quinn today. I was saying this book just feels like it's completely unnecessary. We didn't need this book. Death's been in it. Like, Death was in it at the beginning. I'm not going to spoil the other books. You might want to read them. But Death is depressed and just seems to be drinking, and that's that. Hasn't been in it since. It's like, cool. Don't get me wrong. The books are mostly about like David and like his girlfriend and stuff. But the 4 horsemen were, major parts of these other books. It's... yeah, I really don't know. And I'm just reading it going, why are we doing this? So I did bring back a segment, which was books, but not overly positively. I've got a couple of other things that I've lined up to read next. Hopefully, something better, and hopefully something that I can, bring back into the fold. Right, I watched a documentary. I watched a documentary called Shelby American. It's the story of Carroll Shelby. The Ford versus Ferrari, or I think it's called Le Mans 66 as well. I don't know. Has recently been released to buy. I'm umming and ahhing about buying it. Basically, this is the documentary that that film's based on. Carroll Shelby was a guy who was into cars. He was in the Second World War. He was a pilot in the Second World War. Then he got into racing, and he was very good at it. Won a lot of races. It became his goal to win the Le Mans 24-hour race, which at a certain point in time he did. Whilst doing it, he was basically suffering from a heart attack. The only way he managed to get through that race was by having nitroglycerin tablets under his tongue, and basically he was told he had 5 years left to live. He got into building cars. That's basically where it sort of went from there. He got into building cars. His biggest thing was that he had a falling out with what's his name? The Ferrari. Damn it! I know it as well. Anyway, he had a falling out with the guy that owned Ferrari, and made this sort of thing where he said he was going to beat Ferrari, basically at his own game. He was going to beat him, and it was just year after year after year of trying to beat Ferrari, and that was that. Super good documentary. It's on Netflix at the moment, or at least it is at time of recording. It's a couple of hours. There's loads of stock footage. Great story. He was a real character. The vehicles, the cars that he built were just amazing feats of engineering. They were just beautiful machines. If you're into cars, or if you're into any of that sort of racing scene or any of that, definitely worth giving that documentary a whirl. So yeah, there we go. I watched a couple of movies, for better or worse. I watched Rambo: Last Blood. One of those hadn't had great reviews. I like the Rambo films. I feel that the fourth one, the one that was called in America was called John Rambo. In our country in England, it was called Rambo. I felt that was like probably the best one. I really enjoyed that film. Super brutal. I had fond memories of watching that film twice when I couldn't sleep, having flown into Vegas. Just an enjoyable movie. It hadn't had great, Last Blood hadn't had great reviews, but it's kind of one of them, innit? You've seen all the others, you kind of need to know supposedly how it ends, whether this is the last one, who knows. It was fine. There was large amounts of that film that made no sense. There were huge plot holes in it. It felt forced. Yeah, when he does his Rambo thing where he's killing guys left, right and centre, all that's great. But the film knows it's got no substance, where they had to show him getting ready for the big showdown twice. They showed it, and then they showed something else, and then they cut back to him, and he's getting ready again. It's like, oh, you really don't have anything to put in this film. It was fine. The Rambo stuff, where he's killing loads of guys, that is what it is. It's Rambo. You can't argue with that. It's just, it felt so forced, and it was just... There was just points where you're like, why is this happening? This makes no sense. The film itself is kind of saying to you, why is this happening? Just lots and lots of plot holes and problems. Probably largely another sort of unnecessary film, which is it's a bit of a shame. That was kind of that. I always say it's really difficult to review something that's good I'm finding it difficult to review this film because it was just there. It was fine, but it also wasn't. It was like, it wasn't long. That was kind of a grace, I guess. So I watched that. The other film I wanted to watch was the latest Terminator. The Terminator films have had pretty rocky. It's just a pretty rocky time overall. Once you get past Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, it was kind of just all over the shop from that point on. This film, I was interested to see. It was directed by Tim Miller of Deadpool fame. I know that he's been quite outspoken about the fact that he didn't have a good time making it because there was a lot of interference from the likes of James Cameron, and I believe the studio as well. I know that it had reasonable reviews, but didn't do very well at the box office. So, take from that what you will. This was it was perfectly fine. It wasn't a bad film, and it's not the best film I've ever seen. Things that I liked about it, I liked the new version of the Terminator. The Rev 9 version of the Terminator. It was a cool design. The guy that plays it was quite good, and I liked the fact that they'd made they've sort of obviously made this effort to make it a hell of a lot more human. Like when it interacts with humans, it's sort of very jokey and very jovial and all that sort of stuff. Cool design. That was something that really stood out for me. That was really cool. If I'm honest, something that I felt stood out quite a lot was this might be a spoiler. I don't think it is. Arnie's in it, and to a degree, Linda Hamilton as well. I didn't feel it needed to have Arnie in, and I didn't feel that it needed to have Linda Hamilton in. I think in the film they talk about how she's just really annoying. And that is the feeling that you get from her. It's like you're just an annoyance. Is that what we needed for this? There's a woman in it, sort of who plays the protector role. She was very good. I thought she was good. There's a bit of like I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything if you have the intention of watching it. There was a thing around metabolism. I'll just say that. Overall, perfectly fine, perfectly watchable film. A film I will probably watch again at some point in time if I want to put something on that's kind of a mindless action film. I'm probably going to watch that. So that says something, because something I've realised is I really don't watch stuff more than once, even if it's something I've really enjoyed. I just don't have the time. So that was Terminator Dark Fate. Did I say that's what it was called? If you didn't know, it's Terminator Dark Fate. Right, computer games. I've only been playing one computer game. Console computer game, that is. That's not true. I played a little bit of Mario Kart, but played that with the girls and stuff. So, and it's Mario Kart. What do you want me to say about that? I'm playing Divinity 2 or Divinity 2 Original Sin Deluxe Edition or whatever the hell it's called. I don't really know how to sort of go about talking about this. This is not my go-to style game. Turn-based RPG is not my go-to. But that's not to say that it's not something I'm prepared to play. It's just probably quite far down my list. But I'm a huge RTS fan, really, like the real-time strategy stuff. I'm a big fan of that. I got this because A, it was cheap. I paid less than £20 for it brand new. B, it's had amazing reviews. C, Sam recommended it to me as if you want a game that's going to take 60 to 70 hours to play, get on this. As you'll know from previous podcasts of recent, I've really been struggling to stick with a game. And I can tell you that I am sticking with this game. Some issues, I don't know how much of an issue I see these to be. One is that I spend a lot of time on the internet looking things up. A lot of time. I've got a walkthrough, and sometimes the walkthrough isn't enough, and I have to Google other things because the walkthrough doesn't tell you exactly certain elements. So there's that. It's hard. I'm playing it on easy mode, and it's still hard. I've missed quite a lot of the game through not really understanding how to play it. And because of that, my character, my characters, of which I have 4, are too low in their level to be able to do the stuff that I should be doing. That is starting to become quite a considerable issue. I've spent a long time mulling over whether I should just restart the game. Don't know if that's the answer. Certainly at this point, when I've put a multitude of hours into this game, if somebody said to me, "Are you enjoying it?" I wouldn't be able to answer it. I'm not hating it, other than I've started getting to points in the game now where you'll fight an enemy and that enemy just spawns other enemies, and those enemies have the ability to spawn other enemies, and it just gets out of hand, and I just find myself having to reload the game and hope for the best. That's happened more than a few times, and admittedly a couple of those times I've looked on the walkthrough and it's this is how to avoid that fight, kill them early sort of thing, or attack them early, or that sort of stuff. I find it a very engaging game. Obviously, I'm looking a lot of stuff up online. I'm trying a lot of things. A lot of the elements are new to me. It feels like a game that was made by children, and not in a bad way. What I mean by that is, it feels like a game where somebody was like, "I'm going to make a game, and I'm going to put this in it, and this in it," and then somebody else was like, "Yeah, let's put this in it, and let's put." It's got so much stuff in it, so much going on. A lot of the time it feels quite a lot like it's too much. Sorry, I'm still not trusting the laptop. I'm still on with it until it tells me otherwise. You know what I'm like with games. I'll play them until they don't want me, or they don't want to be played anymore. They don't want me to play them anymore. So that's how I'm operating with this. Honestly, it feels like something that if I don't get to a point where I feel like I have to start it again from the beginning, it feels like something like I might play again, try a different character or a different ability. There's abilities that I'm like, man, I wish I'd had that from right at the start. The ability to talk to animals would have been very useful from the start of that game. So yeah, that's Divinity 2. As far as VR is concerned, I have only played Thrill of the Fight as part of my workout routine. I haven't played anything else. I keep looking into the Oculus Link. It's just not feasible at this point in time. Can't find anywhere that has a compatible cable, and the graphics card I want to get, it's just never in stock. So that's basically where I'm at with that situation. I don't really know what to tell you other than that. So that's games. One of those. That's basically it. You guys know how I operate. That's basically that. Last is the working out. I ran yesterday. Did my run walk yesterday. I'm trying to get the running back on point. A few days ago I increased all of the weight that I'm lifting. Certainly feeling that change. I'm keeping on. I'm doing it. Kind of feels at this point in time like I should be telling you guys when I'm not doing it so that you can hold me accountable. But I'm 5 days a week, 2 rest days, a cheat meal day, that sort of thing. And I'm doing it. Press ups, kettlebells, weights, the VR, the boxing, all of that, running. So yeah, I'm keeping on, even though we're in this lockdown. I'm keeping up with the exercising stuff. Just need to get the eating more under control. That freaking chocolate, man. That freaking chocolate. So yeah, there we go. I wanted to give like a proper full blown podcast this week, kind of a makeup podcast from last week. So that's that. I will say bye, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye. So there you go. What do you think of that? Another one done. Another one in the bag. Another week gone. Yeah. YouTube watchers, make sure you're subscribing. Click for notifications. That way you get up-to-date information on when the latest video is going out. And then you can keep up with what's going on. Everybody jump over to thecookiecast.com. Check us out over there. Send us some love. Whether it's social media based or email, we take all the love. So there we go. That's this one done. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye.